All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are watching another episode of the Win and Play podcast. I am your host, Sean Gary. And before I introduce this amazing guest we have today, you guys know what we do here. We are here to give win and plays, to give tips, tricks, advice, ideas, any strategies that are working well for educators, principals, teachers, parents, and any other youth advocates, somebody working with students and giving them the win and play, like some ideas that's working for them and all that good stuff. But before we do that, because we all want to get the win and play, we want to win in life. We want to get to that championship game if you're playing sports. And then when you win, you get a ring. So here on the show, here on the podcast, we actually eat a ring on the show. So you get to pick whichever one you want. I think, let's see, well, you got two mysteries.
I'm going to go with mystery.
Watermelon. You want to go with the mystery
one?
one?
I like mystery, yeah.
I don't know if anyone's gotten the mystery yet.
All right, well, I'm excited.
And you know what? I really like the watermelon, but I think I'm going to go with the mystery too. And the funny thing is, I probably won't know what I'm eating.
Okay, so two mystery. I won't either, probably. Hey, I'm used to getting participation awards, not actual trophies. Okay, I don't know what it is.
Participation. Let's see.
Yeah. Mystery.
That's good.
I don't know what mine is.
I wonder.
Are there things to choose from?
I wonder if it's the same. If it's the watermelon that's over here. I don't know. Maybe
it's green, so I don't know.
Yeah, mine's green too. Yeah. Anyway. So I'm going to enjoy
I get me a real ring now.
All right. So today we have a guest today that is with us, and I'm excited because I actually was booked at the school she works at. And so it was really, really cool how I ended up. Now I'm back in the city, and there was an opportunity for us to get together and do the interview and get her on the podcast. So I am excited to welcome to the show, Sam.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. And if you would like to give them like the beginning, like what I like to ask is, in the beginning stages of life with like where did the education piece start? That's kind of like where I like to begin. When you were growing up, or was it like what happened in that moment where you said, you know what, I want to work with students, I want to help youth, work with young people, whatever that looks like for you. Tell me a little bit about that. Where did that start?
Well, growing up, I'm from a really, really small town. So my parents were together and they got divorced, and I was one of the kind of students that always just did the right thing. I never got in trouble ever. I did one time in first grade and I never forgot it ever. I kicked a little boy and never
I was going to ask, what did you do?
He stepped on my foot and I kicked him back, and I never ever forgot it. But my teachers were always just encouraging when I was younger, and I never thought I would grow up and become one of them, because to me they were way up here. And I was, I just always looked up to them and never imagined ever actually working in a field that they also worked in.
Right.
But my mom, she was a custodian my whole life growing up. So she was cleaning at the school. And I had siblings that I have a half brother and sister that are a lot younger than me. So I wasn't really around them, a whole lot growing up.
Yeah.
But my cousins, I did watch them a lot growing up. So I think kids are for me. I've always dreamed of my dream. My senior year in high school, I wrote in my senior book, my only goal I had was to marry a very nice man and have 2 kids.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have any other goals.
That's it?
Yes, and I got that. I married the most amazing man, and I have 2 sons. So it's amazing how I wrote it down, and that worked out.
You got it.
But when my oldest son, got into school, I decided, I didn't work. I stayed at home. So I volunteered almost every single day at Highland from kindergarten until he was in 5th grade.
Nice.
And then my younger one started kindergarten, right? So when our younger one started kindergarten, the principal was kind of joking around with me, like, you're here, you obviously love the kids. You're great with them. Like, you might as well work here. And I was like, never in a million years would I thought I'd work at a school, but I did know going into PTA and being at school a lot, that this is my true passion. Like, I just love it.
Nice.
And I hear people complain about their jobs a lot, I actually truly love my job.
Nice.
Like, I wake up every morning and I love it. I love the kids. I love like making relationships with people. And I think going back though, I think I would have loved being a counselor more,
Now, why you say that,
helping.
counselor instead of teacher?
Well, I've noticed, like when I do small groups and things with kids, like this year, for instance, I had a 3rd grade math group I was supposed to do, and we had 40 minutes together. So I've noticed in 20 minutes we get our math paper done. And then the rest, I would kind of just talk to them and just connect with each one of them. And then I thought, that's awesome. I really don't like doing small groups, to be honest. Like, but now I've had a different mindset after this experience. Is I got to know 8 new students, and make a connection with them. And I actually had a mom in the car line, because I do car line, tell me, she said, I don't know what you do at the end of the day with your group, with my daughter, but it's made a huge difference.
Wow.
So I'm like, and I said, I get it. It did. I thought, this is why I do this job, to make a difference in kids that, because, growing up, my parents were divorced. And I always, I want to be that someone for, like, if I wish I would have had to help me, like, understand, like,
that extra person.
Because teachers were like superheroes. Like, they weren't real. Like, my teachers were never like, I never knew their life, like their story, they're
here when we get here, and they're here when we leave. They don't go home.
They don't go home. They don't have a family.
They don't
so I'm
eat.
like, I want kids to know, like, I'm a real person too, with real feelings, and
that's
I just really think that's a neat thing. So I never thought when I went to USI, I went for dental hygiene, and then I realized that was not for me. So I think education in the education field was always my calling, to be honest,
That's cool.
And maybe not teach, but as an assistant, it's different than a teacher, because I don't have all the pressure on me that teachers face these days. I don't have that. But in my mind, like, I can make more of a connection with the kids. Because I have more time to get to know them. The teachers are doing a million things, and I have time to sit down and, like, tie their shoes and talk to them and get to know each.
The extra stuff.
The extra stuff to get to know kids.
A little extra stuff. That's cool.
That's pretty neat.
I love that, because I feel like even as a speaker, when I'm hitting these schools talking, I feel like when I go to the classrooms, that's when, like, they see me on YouTube, and then they see me on stage or in front of everybody. But then when I walk into their classroom, like, it's so
it's different.
Intimate,
it's what I mean?
It's like, oh my gosh, he's in my room right
now.
I know,
like, he's so cool.
It's like he's in my house, like, and I feel like it's in those moments where I can actually kind of talk to them and, like, hey, how you doing? And I'm signing and I'm not in there long, but it's like, those little moments go a long way.
They really do.
Go a long way. So to hear you talk about the small group, and it's like, well, we're done now. What are we going to do for the next, well, let's just chop it up.
Well, it started because I had a boy, I asked, how's your day going? I could tell he was having a hard day. And he said, I don't know. I don't care about anybody but myself. So that for me was a real trigger. Like, I think they just need to talk. I think they just, and then 7 out of the 8 third graders made the comment that they feel depressed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I thought, that's a strange thing to be 8, 9 years old.
Of a word to use and feel so strongly
depressed.
As a young person to say you're depressed.
It is.
And then
once you talk to them, you get to learn, like, this is, I said, you may not be depressed, you may just feel sad at the moment, but but they knew a lot of things that you wouldn't have ever known as their teacher, like, if you don't take the time to.
See, that's another one too, because some teachers, not saying they're good or bad, but they focus so much on the lesson plan and the teaching element and making sure that the student has an understanding of the material. But then there's that side where they're emotionally, like, bothered, or they're going through something. And I know, what was I going to say? It was just kind of a question that I'm asked as far as just connection with kids and teaching. And it's like, you just got to build that connection.
You do. That's the main thing.
They need to know that you care. You can't just be like, well, whatever, And then when I do diversity training, sometimes there are adults who are teaching students that are, like, in inner cities and low income, and even at some of the higher grade levels, especially in, like, the high school level, I say, hey, you may see a student sleeping in class and you're upset because they're sleeping in class. But before you jump on them about sleeping in class, you want to address it, but circle back around later, because there's probably a reason they're sleeping in class. They may actually be very tired, and whether you know it or not, it's possible that they're actually working multiple jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
And
yeah, unfortunately,
they're the head of their household, you know, and mom and dad may not even really be in the picture.
Yeah.
And so they may just be paying the bills and everything and trying to survive. So yeah, they could have been, you know, at work till whatever,
that's true,
you know, and so understanding each student's, you know, life background, what they're getting into, and obviously you don't have to know the whole bio of every single kid, right? But just to be able to ask a couple questions here and there and get a little bit deeper into what's going on at home and what's going on with their life, and it'll help you understand, right? Like why they're doing what they're doing in class and things like that. So in your situation, they're talking about depression and talking about
third grade. That's pretty.
Third grade, it's like you could just dismiss it, like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
or like you
take
did,
the time
like,
to
well, why do you say that? Like, what, you know, what's going on? And I'm sure you might have been surprised with some.
I was surprised, a lot of things,
like,
the things they've heard and seen, and things I've never had to experience. My parents were divorced, and I had a stepdad, and then, you know, but I never had to see things that some kids these days do see. Luckily, my mom sheltered me from probably a lot that I could have experienced probably with my family, you know, growing up. But she did a great job at making sure I wasn't aware of things, I think, like money, for instance. I know we did not have money, but my mom never would have.
You didn't know.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
She never made it like, you know, I wanted a shirt from Abercrombie one time. And, you know, I just knew, like.
What happened?
I knew I was probably in high school and knew we can't afford that, you know. But my mom made sure I got that.
Oh, did she get it?
She did. She did that $50 sweater that I really just wanted. So I think it's important, you know, I don't know. It's hard to see things they go through, and you wonder why they act out. There's always a reason. Right. Kids are trying to speak to you through. They don't understand how to communicate yet. Yeah. And I know that when they throw themselves on the floor, they act out. That's them trying to tell you something's not right. So it's
no, that's cool. Are your students lacking confidence? How's their decision making in the school? What about their effort in the classroom? Are they giving it all that they really, really have? Well, these are things that, as a national youth speaker and author, I address in school buildings. If you are dealing with any of these issues and you would like to have a fun, exciting, full of energy presentation, assembly, don't hesitate to reach out. My website is SeanGary.com. How they think about their next choices will be different. Go ahead and book a discovery call with me, which we simply have a conversation about what their challenges are, what their needs are, and then I can share with you what I would say, do, what talks that I have that address those areas, and also what an assembly would look like. And yes, I'm pretty much there the whole day. All right, thanks a lot. Now back to the episode. Let me ask you this. What is something that you learned when going from mom, kind of like outside or even just helping out here and there, to then when you were like full blown, I'm in there? Like, what's something that you learned that's different? Like, oh man, I never knew this was like this, but now that I'm in here.
Well, one thing was when my youngest son or my oldest son was in kindergarten, I always gave him the choice, like, you want to ride the bus or car? Ride the bus, you know? Okay. So I would send a note almost every day, like, today he's bus rider, today it's car rider. Now that I'm working at a school, I'm like, that is so confusing for my child. Why did I do that? Yeah. So the things like parents don't see that teachers have to deal with on a daily basis. Yeah. Because before I never knew like what teachers had to put themselves through. And they work even when they're home. You never stop caring about your kids. Right. Your personal kids and your school kids. Like, it's like a never ending thing. At nighttime, I'm up thinking about some of them and wondering what they're doing. But as a parent, you never, I didn't see that until I started. I was slowly getting involved in schools, and then I would see kids and I'm like, oh my goodness, not every kid has it like my kid does. You know, like my kid's lucky compared to some kids don't have anybody that care. Right. So it's been a different mindset and a whole different, it woke me up a lot. It was really eye-opening, I will say. So.
That's cool. I was even thinking about the whole, with the note you were sending, you know, every other day. It's like,
I'm thinking
all the steps that the teachers go through to get all the bus riders this way and all the,
I know. And you're like, oh my gosh, today they're this, today they're that.
And every other day having to go, wait, which one? Okay, you're over there. Versus, nope, you guys are always bus riders.
Yeah, I know, it's so much easier. I actually went and apologized to his kindergarten teacher. I did. Now I'm like, looking back, I can't believe I did that to you. Like now that I'm here and you do work, the end of the day is crazy.
Yeah,
always,
right. Yeah.
And you're like, crazy. Oh my goodness, they're supposed to be on the bus. They're supposed to be in a car. Yeah. And you don't want to send a kindergartner on a bus
if they're not
their mom's in the car line.
Right.
So it's a
that
lot.
could be an extra level of stress, but you had no idea, right?
Oh, I've never been in
what do you want to do?
I mean, I went to school obviously, but I never in that point of view, like as the teacher's point of view. And then during COVID, I got a whole nother lesson.
Let's talk about that. What was
because after COVID, when we came back, I mean, we had to be separated. And so we didn't have subs come in the building. They didn't want subs. So as an assistant, I got pulled a lot to sub. And that was not, that was way out of character for me because I like my assistant job. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not the head person. I don't.
I'm in this pocket right here. Let me just stay right here.
I get to be with my class and I get to be happy at, at all times. But the subbing thing was completely different. I'll tell you. I don't know how subs do it. I really don't.
Well, what was your grade level? Your class where you were?
I was in third at the time.
So so you were getting pulled from what? So all the way down to kindergarten?
Oh yeah, kindergarten to fifth grade.
Yeah, okay.
And I had to be art teacher for a week.
Oh wow.
I had to be. So at that time,
how's your art skills? Do you have any?
No, I have none.
In your body? So what did you do? What'd you do?
Put on a video and showed them how to draw from the video, basically.
Oh, okay.
But, the drawing videos.
Okay.
But it was traveling art because they couldn't move out of their classrooms. Yeah. So you would. Yeah, but it was kind of nice looking back because I got to meet, 800 kids.
Yeah.
And then 800 students, because being an art teacher or gym teacher, you get to
see every single kid.
Yeah. So I look back and I'm thankful for that because I actually made a lot of relationships just going into their class for that day.
Yeah.
And they got, got to experience a whole different.
Seen you, or some might have seen you but didn't know nothing about you. Just maybe at your class was leaving every time the same day that theirs was coming, and they would just see you and all, but have no idea who you were. Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh wait, I've seen you before."
Yeah. I'll say it was fun with that going into a kindergarten room because at that time I wasn't in kindergarten.
Okay.
I was in third grade. So when I got to go into the kindergarten rooms, I was telling them my name's Mrs. Block.
Yeah.
Like a Lego, like a block Lego.
Yeah.
And the whole year, the kindergartner, they would say, "Hi, Mrs. Lego." But for me, I think that's
adorable.
Cute. It's adorable. But it was a different mindset, to go into each grade level. You have to have a different mindset and different the way you talk to them and the way they interact with you.
Yeah.
Some of them, like the older ones, come off rude.
Mm-hmm.
But then you wonder
which one you prefer. Like
I'm kindergarten, I think. But our fifth graders, I do being an assistant, I do fifth grade lunch duty.
Okay.
But I got to know those fifth graders
a
lot, and because I was with them in third grade, so I already know them.
Okay, yeah.
But some of them do come off, not so nice sometimes. But I just try to show them love at all times.
Yeah.
And if you say something back, I might just give it back to you a little. Just so like we have the understanding with each other. Like they know they can joke with me and I'm not going to get, because I think kids need to have that too. An adult that they know.
Oh, yeah.
Won't judge them for
my
things.
My fifth grade teacher was like that. And I remember being in fourth grade, hearing about him being cool and how he was like, what do we call it? Capping or roasting or something. I don't remember what it was. And he was a big guy. He was a heavy set guy too. So it would be easy to cap on him, talking about his belly or his weight. But I remember hearing about it, and then I got him as my teacher.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it wasn't anything like attacking the First of all, we knew he actually loved us, right?
Yeah, that's
he cared
important
about
thing.
us.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And it wouldn't be anything embarrassing or so, you know what I mean? Like, but just being able to add little smirk comments as he's responding to stuff we said, and so he might be talking to you, but you're laughing just like everybody else.
I know. Sometimes I think I probably should be laughing at this, but
And I remember one time I remember he bent down to pick something up off the ground, and he had to kind of like run to get up, like because he was like, and he reached up and he came up like, like And I don't remember what I said, but I definitely said something, and we had a back and forth, and it was just so cool. But everybody was laughing, and I mean, there was nothing negative about that class. But I do remember that he will give it to you. He'll go back and forth.
And I think sometimes teachers like that make the biggest impact on a student because they know like they're real people. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I just want kids to know. Like we're real people.
Yeah, for sure.
I have also my emotions too. I understand, like
Yeah. And I think also it shows, like you got to think about the time that you're taking in that moment to say something extra to that kid. Yeah. It's like those moments add up, and that's time you're spending with that kid one-on-one. It might be one extra sentence and a chuckle back and forth real quick, but you gave that person attention in that specific moment, and a lot of times maybe they don't get that at home, or maybe they're not getting a lot of attention. And so it feels good to kind of be highlighted in the spotlight, like, okay, it's about me right now, and connect with the teacher. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's always fun to just,
So fifth graders, huh?
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah. All right. So what do you like most about the kindergartners?
Oh,
they're you do kindergarten now, right?
Yeah, okay. I'm in kindergarten now. They're so innocent.
Yeah.
So pure sometimes, and they don't really understand the world yet. Mm-hmm. So like the difference fifth graders and kindergarten is kindergartners, they don't really know better coming in. They don't really have expectations.
They have no idea.
They have no idea what school is or what it's like. So it's so different. And for my character, I'm known as like the loving, nice person at school. Everyone knows Miss Block's on their side. Like I've always got your back. I will be there. Yeah. So with kindergarten, it makes it so easy.
Mm-hmm. Right, for sure.
Because they're so just little and they don't say words right,
and they just hug them and
they say things that are crazy, and they tell funny jokes that they think are hilarious.
They think are super funny.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they can probably be annoying. So
they can be a little bit,
Leading into what's the, I don't want to say, I'll say frustrating maybe. What's the most frustrating part of working with kindergartners?
Well, definitely after recess. It's frustrating.
Okay.
Because they're all hyped up and, But I would say also just sometimes with certain kindergartners, when they're not understanding things, instead of just asking for help, or they act out and they cry and they throw their pencils and they crumble their papers. Basically like Hulk it out. So it does get frustrating at times. You have to have patience, a lot of patience with little people.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And because you're still teaching them how to deal with when you don't know something, right? It's like, well, you don't know this. That's fine. You don't know. Well, let's figure out, how do I get to where I do know? Yeah. And it starts with maybe you saying, let me raise my hand and ask for help.
Yes, let's raise our hand,
It's
we had not,
I didn't think of that. Well, let me calm down and put Hulk smash away.
I know, let me think about.
Put him in the back pocket and let's try the raising your hand thing.
And for me, with having my own kids, I try to think before I speak to them, like, how would I want my kid talked to? Like, would I want my kid, their shoes untied? I have a big heart, sometimes too big sometimes. And we'll be walking, and we had 28 kids in our classroom. Wow. So we have a pretty big kindergarten class. So, when you're walking down the hall and they just, can you tie my shoe? They just don't get it. And I'm like, not right now. But then I'm thinking, wait, if it was my kid, I wouldn't want them to trip and fall, so I'm like, sometimes it gets in the way of my own feelings, get in the way a little bit sometimes.
Like, we're almost back to the room.
just wait, you can wait. Back. But then I thought,
let's get it tied.
That's right. And they like to shout out sometimes. And you'll be talking to another adult, and they just tap, 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 tap.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm trying to talk to somebody right now. And they just, With that, it takes a lot of patience with kindergartners, I would say.
That's good.
Yeah.
When I was subbing, I felt like with the younger groups, when it comes to behavior, and I'm going to ask you about the behavior side. But I feel like for me, being a man, it's like just to yell or use my grown man voice, like it's so powerful to a kindergartner, you know what I mean, in those younger grades. And really, you don't even have to yell, but just to be able to be stern and put that bass, you know what I mean, in there. What did I just tell you to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're serious. Like, it's like, oh, well, is this where I'm supposed to put it? Like, you know, like, I'm sorry. Yeah. And so I feel like with the younger grades, it's easier on the discipline side because your voice is so powerful. And I feel like with the older groups, that doesn't work so much because
no, it doesn't.
They're not afraid. They don't care about your voice. They don't care. They're big as you nowadays. You know?
They are definitely bigger than me.
And so I would say it's like more the relationship piece has to be there because when that relationship piece is there, that's when they'll do whatever you ask, you know. But for you, what would you say with discipline? How do you deal with discipline? And I'll go fifth, and since you dealt with fifth too, and kindergarten, but let's start with fifth grade.
Fifth grade's hard. I'm just naturally a nicer, gentler person when it comes to kids. You know, I'm just so. But I do agree. You know, they're older now, and you have to earn their respect too.
Yep.
So I don't think you can go in there and just at them because a lot of them aren't going to respond well to that. Right. But I do agree if you have that relationship and build that, then they'll respect you more to want to do the right thing.
For sure.
You know, because if you I've seen, luckily I work with an amazing staff at our school, but other places like.
Shout out.
To you. They really are amazing people I work with.
Yeah.
But I have seen, you know, where kids just get talked down to. And then they are not going to respond to that. Yeah, you know, terrible. You cannot go in there like that. So I'm the one that they tend to ask, you know, they just tell me stuff. I don't even want to know really. So I really don't. Some things I shouldn't know. But I want them to know you do have adults that, you know, I think we should respect them too.
For sure.
I don't think, you know.
Sure. All right. What about kindergarten? What's discipline like in kindergarten?
I don't know. It is way different than fifth grade, I'll tell you. But, you know, kindergartners are kindergartners, but they do tend to listen. They want to please you more, I think. Like, that's what it is. Happy. They want you to be happy. They care about, they care about you and your feelings, you know. I've had a few that don't respond well to that, but also at the same time, they have a lot of stuff going on at home that we don't know about. So
right.
Try to be that person for them, and it's hard sometimes because you're not giving me any grace or respect either, you know.
Right.
But then you got to remember they're 5 and 6, and they haven't been on this earth very long, and you know,
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years is not a long time to learn a million rules. And, but I would say discipline in kindergarten is way easier.
Yeah. Now, do you guys do the chart, like not the chart, but like the flipping cards? What do you guys do for behavior as far as what systems do you guys have set up for when they're misbehaving? And I paused and put a pause there. When I was coming up, we had cards. So like everybody starts on green or whatever, you know what I mean? And as you act up, go flip your card. So you got to go flip your card. And you're hoping by the end of the day that you're not, you know, on red.
Yes, you don't want to be on red. You know? Yes, nobody wants to end on red.
Red was like office. Red was you done already went to the office and came back.
Yeah,
now you
red's
get
not
call
good.
Home, like please don't call my parents, right? Oh my gosh. So like, what do you guys do in your room for discipline and helping with behavior?
Well, in our room, luckily, I'm an assistant with an amazing teacher that is very structured. Shout out to Miss Duff. That's right. She is very structured. So our kids know the routine, like, you know, very well. Like they know what comes next. Like you don't have to tell them now. They're just like, we know, you know, do this. Time to turn this in. Like she's very. I am very lucky to work with her, and she has. We have behavior books. So she takes the time every single day with 28 kids, and she, you know, they get a happy face or a sad face. But if they get a sad face, she writes why every day.
Yes.
So she have in our classroom, we have great parent communication.
Okay.
Like we communicate with their parents.
Daily.
Like we'll call their parents in the middle of class. So our class is an amazing class because we do communicate with their parents a lot. Okay. And we have they earn tickets throughout the week.
Oh, nice.
So on Fridays, if they've earned 20 tickets, they get a prize from the prize wall.
Ooh.
So that really motivates our kids.
There's an idea.
That's right.
Teachers,
they get tickets. She buys tickets off Amazon, and we give them out like crazy to,
nice.
And we don't normally.
What kind of stuff is in there at the end of the week?
Just like little things of Play-Doh, slime, little squishies, keychains, things like whatever. They love everything.
So, does every kid get to cash in whatever they have, or is it just the top earners?
Yeah, only if you have 20.
Okay,
so we give them like a 10s frame at the end of on Fridays.
Okay.
And they have to count up to 20 every Friday. So they put their tickets on there. They don't. It's really hard and sad sometimes.
Like 19
when they're on, and I'm not gonna lie, I have before kids that deserve it, and they do. There was one that had 18, so I had 2 in my pocket, and I hid them in their desk. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you have down there?
I shoved them in their desk when they weren't looking, and I was like, "Are you sure? Let's pull out your stuff." And then there were 2 magical tickets there. So they do get it.
That is hilarious.
But the kids that,
because you have those that
it's sad that they deserve it.
They probably should have got 1 or 2 somewhere if they did. And it's like, dang.
And you can see the sadness coming on their face,
I gotta get them an extra 2.
Or we have, certain student that I absolutely adore. He knows it, but he can be a handful a bit sometimes,
Yeah.
But if he's had a good 3 days, good week, and he doesn't, you can see it just starting to build up, and he's gonna melt down.
This is when he doesn't quite have enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's gonna have it's gonna go down.
Boy.
So you do try to make sure because he tries. He really does sometimes. Yeah. And for the past 2 months, he's been
doing
knock on wood.
Right.
He's been wonderful. Right. So rewarding them is so nice. It is hard when they don't get it. Yeah. But then at the same time, they have to learn.
Yep.
You don't deserve it because you can't talk back to us or just not do your work. You have to behave and do the right thing. And our class they have learned that.
Mm-hmm. How we doing on time? We okay? All right. We looking good? Okay.
Okay,
gotcha. So, with that being said,
sorry.
We're going to shift into this final phase here. The final thing that we do on the show, we ask on the podcast, we ask option A and option B. So, option A is you get to choose 3 different tips, tricks, winning plays for principals, teachers, and parents. So 9 things. Or you can choose option B, where you pick one of them, the principals or the teachers or the parents, and you can give 5 winning plays for just that group of individuals.
All right.
So which one would you like to do?
Maybe parents.
Parents?
Because I'm a parent and I've struggled at times.
Perfect.
So.
All right. What are your winning plays?
Well, let's see. First off, no parent's perfect. And I myself have done that. But I would say listen to your kids. I know with me, I tend to be on my phone a lot. And that's I'm trying to break that habit of being on Facebook and doing this. And it's hard because, you get on there and you just get in a rabbit hole of doing it. Right. And I have a 6th grader and I have a junior. I'm going to be a senior. So I think it's important to listen to your kids when they're speaking to you. Yeah. Because sometimes, it's boring. Yeah. You don't want to listen. Sometimes it's,
I really don't care about the Power Rangers.
Or with me, I've been with kids all day. I get home and I want to relax. But I think it's important to ask your kids how their day has gone and really listen. Because my son that's 17, he does not talk much. Okay. So the little amount of time I can ask him, how was your day? Yeah. He'll just say, good. We used to have him 3 things. Tell me 3 things about your day. Yeah. And he would really struggle to tell us just 3 things. 3 things. And I'm like, you've been at school lunch, all day. I'm sure there's 3. And then my younger son, he'll talk and talk and talk. Yeah. Complete opposite. But I say listen, Okay. And another one, encourage them to do their best.
Okay. Number 2 is encourage. Yeah. Okay.
Because I would say sometimes kids get kind of down on themselves. You can see it, getting down on themselves. And I think you should always encourage them to just try their best. Yeah. Even if, I know my sons sometimes struggle with certain things. And my younger one he doesn't like when things don't go. He's, very smart. So if he would get a bad grade or it's the end of the world. Like, but
right.
I always encourage them that you have to keep trying. It's fine to get one bad grade is fine, and your kids need to know they can't be perfect too. You know.
Yeah.
So let's think. What else could I tell parents?
Before 3, I just want to say to everybody that's watching, please go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, do all the YouTube stuff to get the algorithm to recognize this is something that's worth tuning into. So hit the like and share. Okay.
That's right.
So you got 3 more.
Let's see. What else could I come up with here, parents? Patience.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Because, sometimes it's hard to have that patience with your own child and at school, with teachers too. It's hard. I advice for teachers too.
Yeah.
Remember to have patience, especially as the school year is coming to an end and it's usually crazy. But the kids are also, your own personal kids are struggling too right now. So you got to remember to have patience at all times.
That's good. Okay. Number 3 is patience.
Yeah. And another one is, so kids learn by example.
Okay.
So make sure you're being the example.
It's getting good. It's a good one right
here. It is
a
good.
Woo.
So for me, I don't drink. I don't do things like that because before my oldest son was born, I did party and I did do things like that. But then after he was born, I still wasn't, there, But then we started coming to this church, actually, when he was about 3. Nice. So we've been here a long time. He's 17. But one thing I learned from coming to church and being here is like watching people, like our pastor with their kids, and how lead by being an example to them.
For sure.
And then I started helping on Wednesday nights with our children's ministry, and we would go out, and sometimes we would see kids at Los Bravos or places, and I thought, wait, how does that look if they see me sitting here drinking when I'm at school or I'm at church telling them live for God and be an example, So I feel like we should always be an example and a light to our kids. And
that's really good because they're watching, man.
They're always watching.
They're watching.
They're always listening.
They try to say, do as I say, not as I do. That's a saying that's out there, and it's like, no, they're going to do what you do.
Yep. It's hard,
say that all day long, but they're watching what you're doing.
And I slip up and I do things I probably shouldn't say in front of my kids or do things, but they are always watching. And if you want your kids to grow up and be, respectful, you need to be respectful too and treat people,
All right, last one. I think this the last one.
Let's see. Yeah, this is harder now.
4 was set an example, watching what you do.
Be patient, encourage them, be an example, listen.
What's something
else they can do to? I don't know. I guess respect your kids too, because you do see people, like parents, the way sometimes I see it in the mornings when they get out of the cars. You can tell the parents that are. Have a good day, just respecting their kids. And then sometimes the kids just get out and they look so down and sad. And start every day a good day. Even if you've had a bad night, let it go. I would say let things go.
Yeah.
For instance, my son yesterday, it was a disaster because he broke a bowl on accident before I got home. And my older son called and my younger one was a mess. He was, so give them I would say give them grace.
Yeah.
Give your own kids a little grace because we all need that in life. I know I need that too sometimes at work or school is given. And I think he thought the world was ending because he broke that bowl.
Yeah.
And I could have went into it why did you break that bowl? Yeah. But instead I had a different thought process, and I had to take a moment to think before I spoke myself and just tell him, it's not the end of the world.
I think that will also help in the future when he messes something up or does something wrong. He's not going to have this memory of, the last time I did something wrong, I got yelled at or
freaked
whatever.
Out on me,
like, no, let me tell, because it's not that bad to share when stuff goes bad. Yeah. So let me share. But that's good.
I would say before we got into church and before I just really understood the world, really, even at 30 years old, I still don't understand the world sometimes. But it was hard, sometimes I did react to my own kids in ways I maybe shouldn't have. I can't believe you would, why would you do that? So now as they've getting older and I'm getting older, I have learned show them grace too, because they are little adults. They're little, they're people too with feelings, big feelings. And,
So I just want to, let everybody watching know that you gave them an extra one.
I just keep going. I'm sorry.
So it's all good. You guys got the grace.
I like to talk. Can you tell?
You did good. You did amazing. So guys, before we wrap this up, go ahead, like and subscribe. Share this. This has been an awesome episode of the Win and Play podcast. Sam's here with us sharing some awesome tips and some things that she's experienced over the years working with students and all that good stuff. So hopefully you guys have gotten a couple nuggets out of this, couple diamonds you've written down, and you guys can take this information and apply it. If you heard something that you say, you know what, we do something similar to that, but maybe a little bit different, go ahead and add it in the comments. Maybe you do something completely different than something in your classroom. Put it in the comments. Let other people see what you're doing in your room and share. And then maybe, who knows, you might end up on a podcast one day. Just saying.
Hey, all right.
Just saying. Before we go, though, I was curious. You said, because I think I remember being in your school. There was, because I came to your class, right?
Yeah.
What was the teacher's name in there?
Miss Duff is a teacher I work with.
Did she, I'm trying to think, because there was somebody who did an amazing job and has a crazy good structure.
Well, I know you met Mrs. Webb.
Okay. Because that might have been the one. I just don't remember.
I know
her
you
name.
Talked to her. She was on one of your.
She did a feedback video and stuff. Okay, yeah.
She did. Mrs. Webb has amazing class management.
Okay. So I was thinking, wait, somebody.
Both of my sons had Mrs. Webb in first grade.
Oh, really?
She's amazing.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I would say classroom management is another thing that
Yeah.
Being an assistant and going in different rooms.
Mhm.
I fortunately have been lucky. Every year I've worked with an amazing teacher.
Yeah.
So it's not always the case.
And you can see when you walk in.
And I would say, I've truly been blessed with my job because I work for amazing principals, amazing staff. We all get along, we love each other.
Yeah.
I will, and shout out to the ones that we have had some staff members this year actually take in children from our school.
Wow.
So that shows you a huge thing.
Wow.
They're in it for the right reasons. I would say in our building at Highland, we're all in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
We've had at least, I think, 5 teachers take in different kids this year because they got put into foster care.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
We had one actually adopt one of her foster kids. Yeah.
Wow. That is really cool.
So, we have amazing
shout
teachers.
out to Highland, man.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to Highland after I was there. I did a talk with the staff, and they were really cool.
They are,
really cool,
they have hearts.
Some good questions, and I could tell that their heart was.
They're in it
for
the right reasons. Some people get into education not for the right reasons. Maybe I don't think you have summers off. Yeah,
Oh right.
It's not. That's not a reason to get in.
Yeah. That's
into
funny.
it. You have to have the heart. I would say.
So before we leave, did you have anything else that you want to say to the people? Any final thoughts?
Not really. Just remember to be you. It's hard sometimes to be you. I struggled with that for years. Just being yourself. People will like you, for who you are. And that's the thing I want all kids to know too, is just remember to just be true to who you are. Don't try to be somebody else or do what they're doing.
Try to be like everybody else.
Don't try to be like everyone else.
Yep. All right, perfect. Well, thanks again so much for being on the podcast. Appreciate it. And with that, guys, we got to get up out of here. So stay tuned. Next time, watch the next episode, watch the previous episode, and you guys take these winning plays, apply them, share them with others, and comment in the bottom. Give more information, help, because it's a community where everybody's helping each other. All right. So with that, that's all I have. It's your boy, Sean Gary, and I'm out. Peace. Yeah.